Hi friends, today we are going to learn about authorization filters. So friends, already you know in MVC filters there are four types of filters are there. One is authorization filter, second one is action filters, third one is result filters, fourth one is exception filters. So today we are going to see about authorization filters in MVC. The authorization filters in MVC in ASP.NET MVC, authorization filters are type of filters that handle the authentication and authorization of users, ensuring that the user has the correct permission to access a resource like controller or action. These filters are invoked before any action method is executed, are primarily used to check whether a user is authenticated, logged in, and authorized, has the right roles, claims, permissions to access a particular resource. What authorization filters do? The first one is authentication. Ensures that the user is authenticated, meaning they have logged in successfully. Authorization ensures the user has the necessary permissions, roles, or claims to perform the requested action. Types of authorization in MVC. The first one is authentication. Verifies that the user is who they say they are, usually by checking credentials like username, password. Authorization verifies that an authorized user has the necessary permission to access specific resources or perform certain actions. Built-in authorization filters in ASP.NET MVC. See, look at here. We have a authorize attribute is primary built-in authorization filter in ASP.NET MVC. It restricts access to a controller or action to any only authenticated users. It can also be used with roles or user specific claims for more fine-grained access control. Without roles, restricts access to authenticated users. With roles, restricts access to users who are part of specific roles. With users, restrict access to specific users by username. So how the authorize attribute works? The first one is restrict access to authenticated user. See, if you apply authorize attribute, filter an action or controller. Look at here, this is a controller. It will restrict access to that action or controller to authenticated users only. So look at here example. We have a home controller and we have an index. See, we have added authorize attribute. So authorized persons or users can only access this home controller, that includes with action method also. In this example, the index action will only be accessible to the users who are authenticated, or that means logged in. If an authenticated user tries to access the action, they will be redirected to the login page. And second one, restrict access to the users with specific roles. You can restrict access to an action or controller to users who belong to specific roles. This is done by specifying roles within the authorize attribute. For example, you can see authorize attribute in square bracket roles is equal to admin. So we have a admin. So only admin can access this admin control and dashboard action method. So in this example, the dashboard action will only be accessible to the users who are authenticated and have the admin role. If the user without the admin role tries to access the action, they will be denied access. Restrict access to specific users. You can also restrict access to specific users by specifying their usernames within the authorize attribute. Example, see here we have a authorized attribute users. See, only John and Jane, those two users can access to this user control and include with action method. See, in this example, only users with the username John or Jane will be able to access the profile action. Combine authentication roles and users. You can combine the roles and users parameters to further refine access control. This allows you to create more complex authorization logic. See here, look at here example, authorize attribute, roles, admin or manager, users, John or Jane. So John and Jane should have admin and manager role access only, then only they will access to this method, action method. This example, authenticated users who are either admin or manager and whose username is either John or Jane to access the manage settings action. Authorization filters and authentication. The authorize filter works in conjunction with authentication mechanisms in ASP.NET MVC. By default, if a user is not authenticated and tries to access a resource protected by Authorize, the user is redirected to the login page, typically defined in application's authentication settings. So, if the user is not authorized, example does not belong to the correct role, they will generally see 403 forbidden error. Now we'll see that example. Applying authorize globally. You can apply authorize filter globally to all controllers and actions in the application. This is done in filters config.cs file by adding the filter to the global filter collection. See, this is the global file, filter config file. See, here we have given a authorized attribute. In the filters, we have added that. See, this will enforce authentication for all controllers and actions by default. Only authenticated users will be able to access any part of the application. And even we can use customize access and denied behavior. See, you can customize what happens when a user is not authorized to access a resource. By default, when a user is not authorized, they are redirected to the login page. However, you can override this behavior by specifying a custom login page or error page. Look at here example. We have an authorized attribute here and we have a two method, index and access denied, home controller. So in this example, you could configure the application to redirect user to access denied action if they attempt to access a restricted resource. So this is another option. It's a customized behavior. We can give that. This we have created a action result called access denied. If user is not authenticated, they will get here. Example 3, handling unauthorized access with AllowAnonymous. If you have a global authorized filter applied but want to allow anonymous access to specific action controls, you can use AllowAnonymous attribute to override the authorization requirement. See, here we have a authorized attribute at account controller. We have a login method and register action. See, in the register action, we have given a AllowAnonymous. So in this example, the login action requires authentication. For login, we require authentication. but the register action is accessible to anyone, authenticated or not. So we can give that allow anonymous attribute over a register action method. Custom authorization filters. If the built-in authorization attribute does not meet your needs, you can create a custom authorization filters by implementing Authorization Filters interface. This allows you to create a complex authorization logic beyond roles and usernames. See, look at here, we have a class called public class custom authorization filters, which we have given our own and we have inherited with authorization filters. So in the on authorization method, we are checking here filter context dot http context dot user. If user equal to null or user not equal to is in role, then what we are giving, if not authorized, redirect to an error page. Filter context dot result equal to new redirect result. Here we are giving that slash error unauthorized page. So you can then apply this custom filter. That means this is a custom filter to a controller or action. See, here we have a service filter, a type of is custom authorization filter. So we have given an admin controller is a controller and dashboard. If user is not authenticated, then it will goes to error page. That means already we have seen so many types are there. We can go to error page if it is not authenticated. So friends, this is all about authorization filters in ASP.NET MVC. Thank you.